What's up everybody? Check it out. Today I'm going to do some quick tests. I got two quads here. I just got done setting up TBS Crossfire on this Green Monster quad, so I'm pretty pumped to check that out. This quad here, I have been running Spektrum pretty much. You know, everything that I've had before has been running Spektrum. So this quad's still set up on Spektrum. This one's set up on Crossfire. I did have to buy, you know, my previous radio was just this Spektrum DX6. Nothing too fancy. Picked it up at the local hobby store years ago. But I did pick up an upgraded, this is my new Tyrannus X9D Plus with the Crossfire module on the back. So all I want to do today is just kind of test it out. I'm just going to put the Crossfire set to 100 milliwatts just for testing purposes. I don't have an external battery for it or anything like that. How many vehicles are going to drive by now? So I'm going to test the Spektrum versus the Crossfire. I know that the Crossfire is going to just wreck the Spektrum as far as video range, or excuse me, as far as signal range, but I just wanted to test it out and see how she goes, just because I'm curious. So I'm pretty used to how much range I have for the Spektrum. I know that this purple quad was probably the best out of all of them that I had as far as range goes for Spektrum. They didn't all quite perform exactly the same. This one seemed to always be a little bit better. I suppose it has a lot to do with you know, antenna condition and antenna placement and stuff like that. I kind of had the placement the same on all of them, but for some reason, this one just seemed to have a little bit better range. So I'm going to fly this one first, just because I'm kind of used to how far it'll go. And let's see, what do I have the RSSI set to on this? So when this radio is down to 26% of its signal strength to this purple quad, it's going to start an alarm. So that's what I typically would use for flying. So we're just going to kind of put some footage on the screen now, and we'll see how far 26%, you know, when we start hearing that alarm, then we'll turn around and come back. Hopefully we won't fail safe. And then we'll do the same thing when we are on the Tyrannus. However, the Tyrannus, and as far as the manual reads for the Crossfire, you don't want to fly it under like 70% signal. So I do have alarms set on here for both 80%, and then when it gets down to 70%, it's really going to be yelling at me. But let's just see how she goes. Alright, so no cars coming, I don't think. Here we are in the Spektrum. Gosh, it's nice to have this DX6 back in my hands. Still not used to the Tyrannus, but... So here we are. I'm going to slow it down. Oh! Did you see that? I didn't even get a signal loss indicator there. The heck? No beeps yet from the radio. This is pretty far out for Spektrum. Wow, for what I'm used to. This is a lot further than I typically fly. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing falls out of the sky. Wow. There it is. Alright, so that's how far we made it. We're going to turn around now. So I'll fly a little bit higher, a little bit faster now, so you can kind of see how far I went out. Way further than I actually expected it to. But keep in mind, I'm in like perfect conditions. We're going straight out. There's zero obstructions. All right, let's bring this in. All right, so that's how far the Spektrum made it out. I don't know. I mean, I'll have to look back on the footage, but I feel like we made it. I mean, I can't tell you how far that was, but it felt pretty good. That's a lot further than I typically fly this quad out there, especially with the Spektrum setup. Now, again, like I mentioned, this is pretty much perfect conditions. I'm pointing straight towards the quad, and there's zero obstructions out here. So the RF situation is probably as best as it probably could be. But now let's switch over to the Tyrannus and Crossfire combination, just because I'm curious how much further do we get. I'm pretty sure it's going to be much further, but I'm just curious, so let's test it out. All right, so here we are. We're switching over to the Green Monster. This has the new Crossfire setup. I do have it set to 100 milliwatts. That's pretty much the closest option that I have to what the Spektrum runs at. So we're going to test it out and see how she goes. 100 milliwatts, Crossfire. same path, same RF situation, back-to-back test against the Spektrum radio that I had been previously running. So let's see how she goes. Hold. So far no sounds. I do have a little chirping sound that should happen at 90% signal. I'm going to slow it down now because I feel like I'm getting really far out here. So no sounds yet. Should be hearing a chirping sound at 90% signal. And then it'll say RF low at 80% and RF critical at 70, but so far there's the chirp. Oh, I got them both at the same.
RF signal low. RF signal critical.
Oh, better turn around.
Signal low.
So here we are.
Signal critical.
We are at 70%-ish, and I almost made it to the road. I almost made it across this whole field. There's the road right there. I'm gonna go a little bit higher.
RF signal low.
I can't believe how close. So if I go a little bit higher, look at that, I made it all the way to the road. I'm going nice and slow, but I better turn around. I do not want to fail safe this new quad. So look at that, I made it all the way across, you guys. I am really far away, holy crap. Takes forever to get back. That was awesome. Yep. Shaky landing, but that was freaking sweet. Did you see if I went all the way across this field? I'll have to look up on Google Maps or something exactly how far this is, but I would say that the Spektrum maybe went like, I don't know, halfway, maybe even a little bit more than halfway. I was actually really impressed with how the old Spektrum setup did that I had been used to flying, but I just have this Crossfire set up to 100 milliwatts. I mean, this thing goes way higher as far as transmission strength, transmission signal strength. It goes way higher. I mean, I can bump it up to 500 milliwatts after this, 1 watt, or even 2 watts. So right now I'm on 100 milliwatts. I can go all the way up to 2 watts with this thing. I need to get an external battery to actually power it because it would suck my transmitter battery way too quickly. But I made it all the way across this field and had no problem, and it was only on 100 milliwatts. I'm pretty pumped about that. A lot more confidence. Ultimately, my plan is to be able to fly this thing over the ocean when I head down to Aruba here in a couple months. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get geared up for the Aruba trip, get 2 reliable quads ready to go so I can take them along, hopefully get some awesome footage for you guys down there in Aruba. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you click it. All kinds of good content yet to come. One other thing that I wanted to mention about that Crossfire setup is that I was really surprised at how close together the alarms actually were. And I wonder if some of that has to do with how low to the ground I was flying out there. If I was gonna do more of this actual kind of like medium range, long range type of flying, I probably wouldn't be so low to the ground. I was just trying to stay really low to the ground because I didn't know if it was going to fail safe. This is really new to me. I didn't know if how reliable it was. And if I was going to fail safe, I wanted to be low to the ground so I could easily find it. That's also why I picked this railroad spot, so I knew exactly where to find it. But yeah, if I was a little bit higher, I wonder if the signal strength would have acted a little bit different or a little bit better, possibly. A little bit surprised at how soon it hit that 90% threshold, and then it hit the 80% and then the 70%, like bam bam bam, it kind of seemed like. So I'll have to do a little bit more testing on that. Definitely keep you guys updated. But if you like this video, definitely hit the like button, and definitely consider subscribing if you like this FPV content. If you're new here, I do have another channel, all kinds of drag racing content. It's called Gulfstar TV, so definitely go ahead and check out that channel as well. Until the next one though, thank you guys for watching. Later.